The No Fate channel checking in. I have passed week 1 on this 60-day mission to reverse this dad bod, and more importantly, I'm going to be talking to you about how to get a flat stomach and why a flat stomach is more important than trying to get six-pack abs. This 60-day series is dedicated to getting this dad bod back to my honeymoon shape, back when I was in Waikiki, feeling good, looking good, and just having the time of my life. We've passed the 1 week mark, and I am right on track, right where I want to be. My two main goals are to get up to 185 pounds and to get my waist down to 32 inches. All right, so where am I right now? I have gained 0.6 pounds this past week, and that is right where I want it to be, right around that half-pound mark. So I'm going to be sticking with 3,500 calories and sticking with those macros. I'm going to put them right up here. Food-wise, I'm feeling good. I'm not really forcing myself to eat all those calories, but at the same time, I do have to be diligent to get those calories in. Otherwise, I will fall short and won't be able to hit my mark. Keep in mind, I'm trying to gain weight as slowly as possible to maximize that muscle gain and minimize that fat gain. As far as my waist has held steady at 33 inches, even though I did gain a half a pound. So that's okay. But again, we want to get that waist as small, as skinny as possible. And why? Well, that's part of the reason I'm making this video today. This specific video is to talk about getting a small waist. Notice I didn't say six-pack abs. Everybody has six-pack abs, but the reality is for most people, it's just covered in fat. And if you want to get six-pack abs, you've got to get that body fat down into single digits. Oftentimes, depending on your physique, depending on where your muscle insertions are, you might even have to get below 8 or 7% to see those abs, see those six-pack abs. It is much more realistic, and I would argue much more beneficial, to focus on getting a flat stomach. Keep in mind, many people aren't going to see you with your shirt off. So when you have that flat stomach, you're going to appear to be thin and fit. And keep in mind as well, when that stomach is flat, everything else looks good, both for men and women, right? You got a small stomach, it looks like you've got big arms. You've got a small stomach, your shoulders are going to look wider just by proportion. If you want that big bottom that many of those women out there, maybe some of my subscribers are looking for, get a smaller waist and your bottom is going to pop, okay? So that's why it's much more realistic and much more beneficial to work towards a flat stomach, a smaller stomach, rather than trying to target those six-pack abs. I know it is sexy to Google six-pack abs and do exercises for six-pack abs, but it's unrealistic, and I am about doing more with less. I would much rather have you, myself included, target that smaller waist and a flatter stomach rather than going after that magazine cover headline of six-pack abs, okay? We really want to be focused on our goal, and my goal right now is not only looking like I used to look when I was on my honeymoon, but getting that 32-inch waist, that small waist, because keep in mind, when you've got a small waist, everything else is going to look bigger and better. I'm going to give you the 3 exercises that I am using to get that waist smaller and my stomach flatter. Number 1 is what I call a V raise hold. You take your body, you turn it into a V, you take your arms and you point them towards your legs. Now, you want to hold it as long as you can, but the reality is many people do this wrong because when they just get into this form, they just kind of hold it. And you want to really focus on, ideally on form, keeping those abs tight and pulling that belly button towards your lower back, training that stomach and your abs to kind of be smaller, be just not hang out as far and pull that in. Number 2, one of my personal favorites is the plank. It is great because you can do it anywhere, the gym, home, hell, a small bathroom. You want to get on the floor, put your elbows underneath your shoulders. Keep in mind, you don't want your elbows in front of your shoulders. You want them underneath your shoulders, and you want to keep that body tight. The idea of this exercise is really maintaining that form. Many people will sacrifice form in order to do this exercise longer, and I would tell you, do not do that. Get that form down tight, pardon the pun, but get it down perfectly and then focus on getting the exercise to last longer, okay? Trying to reach towards a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes if you're crazy. So again, you want to keep those elbows on the mat and you want to keep them underneath your shoulders and keep your body tight. Many people will get into this position and they think they've got a good form, and then they end up looking like a fallen down baby elephant, okay? Their head's on the floor, their butt's in the air. It's not pretty. So keep your body tight. It's called the plank because you should look extremely flat like a plank of wood. And while you're doing this exercise, don't just mindlessly go through it. Focus on keeping those abs tight, keeping that lower back tight, and again, pulling that belly button towards your back, trying to train those muscles to be smaller, to be more compact, and to hold themselves tighter. It's so important to really focus on the form on this one. And again, form is key, and duration of the exercise is going to come the more that you do it. Number 3, one of my favorite ways to contract the stomach, it has been used by bodybuilders and physique competitors for years, they still do it to this day, is vacuums. And that is essentially trying to draw in your stomach, tighten up your stomach as much as you can while expelling all of the air from your body. Now there's 2 ways to do this. One way is on all fours. You get all on all fours and you do what I call like a cow and a cat, which is known in yoga. And so you breathe in deep on all fours, and then as you expel that air, you blow it all the way out, you roll that back and you pull in that stomach. It's very hard to explain, which is why I'm throwing up a photo of me doing this, but you really want to focus. And at the very end, you've got no air in your body and you're still contracting those abs as tight as possible, trying to bring that belly button all the way in and almost touching your lower back. Just really try to focus on that mind, find that mind-muscle connection. And again, you're going to have no air in your stomach, and then you're going to release and take 2 or 3 breaths, okay? You really want to try to hold it for as long as possible without any air. And again, forcing that muscle to contract, forcing those abs to learn to just be tight and be smaller and more compact on a regular basis. And I like to do 6 to 10 of these. The second way to do this exercise is standing up. The principle is the same, but it tends to be a little bit more convenient because you don't have to get down on all fours. You can do this standing up, and preferably in front of a mirror so that you can actually see your abs contracting and tightening. And it's the same idea. You basically take a real deep breath, you put your hands behind your head, and then you blow out that air, all that air out of your lungs while you contract and bring in your stomach, and you just contract and tighten down that stomach as much as possible. And when all the air is out of your lungs, you then keep holding onto those abs, forcing them to be as tight and compact and constricted as possible. And then you release, take a few breaths, do it again. How often should you do these ab exercises? Well, number 1, you can do vacuums all day long. You can do them 7 days a week if you want it. I tend to do the vacuums about 5 times a week. The other ab exercises, I do those about 3 times a week, and they just throw them in at the very end of my workouts. Or if I don't have the time to do it at the end of my workouts, I actually will throw them into my rest days as soon as I get up. It does tend to be easier on an empty stomach to do these because there's more room to kind of pull those abs in. I hope these 3 ab exercises to get your waist smaller and your stomach flatter were beneficial. I know I'm going to be taking advantage of these for the next 60 days at the very least as I head back to that Waikiki body. Hopefully you can join me on your journey. Hopefully you're doing a fitness journey of your own. If you've come this far in the video, hell, give it a like, hit that subscribe button. As usual, thanks for watching, and don't save anything for the trip back. I am dedicated to helping you dads be great parents to your children and still accomplish your own personal goals. I post tips and tricks to save you dads time, energy, and money. 3 things that are in short supply for every dad out there.